Hello, a very good afternoon and welcome to Silverstone, ahead of the British Grand Prix as MotoGP returns to action after our 5-week summer break. We join you with some breaking news and some sad breaking news as well, because it's just been announced that Andrea Dovizioso will be retiring from MotoGP following the San Marino Grand Prix, meaning that Dovi only has 3 races remaining in his illustrious MotoGP career, and what a career it's been as well. The man that finished second to Marc Marquez when he was in his absolute pomp, 2017, 2018 and 2019, 15 Grand Prix, or MotoGP victories should I say, to his name. He's also the only man in history to have won a MotoGP race in 3 separate decades. The 2000s, in 2009 when he won his very first race on British soil at Donington Park, throughout the 2010s when he was so competitive with Ducati, and then of course 2020, his last MotoGP win coming in Austria. He took a sabbatical at the end of 2020 and returned with the With You Yamaha team, and then of course was supposed to do the full season, factory contracted to Yamaha. Lynn Jarvis at the time saying what a coup it was to bring him in, a man with such experience, to be able to bring Yamaha forward and help them fight for the championship. It has been the case to a certain extent with Fabio Quartararo, of course, winning last year's title and looking on course to compete for this one as well. But for Dovi in particular, it's been a challenging 18 months, shall we say. Ever since joining, MotoGP has changed so much, he was saying in a statement, which I'll read to you shortly. Ever since 2020, when the new Michelin tyres came out, he struggled to adapt to that, struggled to adapt his braking to the new tyres and how they needed to perform, and as a result he has not been able to really get the maximum out of the Yamaha M1. I'm going to speak with Wilco Zeelenberg very shortly. Before that though, we'll be hearing from Andrea Dovizioso later on today. You'll be able to hear his interview, his thoughts on MotoGP.com. But I just want to read you the words in the Yamaha statement that came out early, because I think they're quite poignant. It starts by saying, in 2012, the experience with the Iwata manufacturer in MotoGP had been very positive for me. And since then, I've always thought that sooner or later, I would have liked to have been an official Yamaha contracted rider. This possibility presented itself, actually, in a somewhat daring way during 2021. I decided to give it a try because I strongly believed in this project and in the possibility of doing well. Unfortunately, in recent years, MotoGP has changed profoundly. The situation is very different since then. I've never felt comfortable with the bike. I've not been able to make the most of its potential despite the precious and continuous help from the team and the whole of Yamaha. The results were negative, but beyond that, I still consider it a very important life experience. When there are so many difficulties, you need to have the ability to manage the situation and your emotions well. We did not reach the desired objectives, but the consultations with the Yamaha technicians and with those of my team have always been positive and constructive. Both of them, for me, is incredibly important, as the relationship remained loyal and professional throughout, even in the most critical moments. And it was not so obvious that that would happen. He finishes by wanting to thank Yamaha, the RNF team, and all of the sponsors as well. My adventure will end in Misano, but the relationship in this challenge will remain intact forever. Thank you. Nice words from Dovi, and we'll be able to hear more from him shortly, further on today, when he speaks to the media. We'll jump inside the With You Yamaha hospitality then, because Wilco Zeelenberg had the opportunity to work with Dovi over the past couple of years, and obviously has been a pivotal part of MotoGP and seen the Italians' ups and downs. Wilco, how are you? I'll let you finish your coffee.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Welcome to UK.
Thank you. Well, I'm home. I had to drive down 2 hours yesterday, which is nice. A different challenge for a Grand Prix. We've obviously been speaking about the news that Andrea has 3 races left with the With You RNF Yamaha squad. A great shame. Just first of all, talk us through when you knew about this, what your first reaction to the news was as well.
Yeah. Well, of course, Andrea, the whole season has been, disappointed by his results. So we all saw his face and like, look, I did not come back for this one. He said many times. Of course, we were a little bit afraid for this scenario. But anyway, we tried to help him as much as possible, stay behind him, and hopefully that he was able to fulfill the season, at least enjoy racing. but he, yeah, finally he decided that he's not enjoying enough anymore to continue this sport. And it's sad for us basically, and also for him. But yeah, it's double, you know. So also we want to respect his decision, and because finally, if you don't want to be here, that's also important to make a decision and say, look, this is stop. And finally, they came to a mutual agreement with Yamaha as well, because finally he's a Yamaha contracted rider, and yeah, this is the situation so far. But of course, we are not very happy with it, but we accept it.
We've read his quotes out earlier, was wanting to stress to say how professional the relationship has remained. We know Dovi as the professor. Aside from the results being disappointing, what's it been like to work with him? Because you know he's so analytical, so professional in everything he does. It must have been a joy to work with a rider like that.
Yeah, exactly. So this was also the reason, of course, from Yamaha to take him on board. He's very precise. He knows exactly what he wants, what he needs. And so from the first moment on, he was asking for things, of course, that was working on the Ducati, and also what the Yamaha needed to improve. But finally, yeah, the Yamaha is such a different kind of bike to ride. He said it's not 180 degrees different, but 360, you know. So I said, yeah, but then you're back at the same point. Yeah, but it's not working like that. And he clearly struggled to get along after 8 years on a Ducati, and but it has been a privilege, you know. He's like 3 times second in the World Championship. He did fantastic things on a motorcycle, and he doesn't want to be in the back anymore, you know. So this is what we need to respect from him.
You know, he is a winner, and we shouldn't allow the people at home. The past 18 months, even in 2020, have been challenging for him, but Dovi, without doubt, will go down as one of the greatest riders not to win a Premier Class title, along with Danny Pedrosa and Randy Mamola. Obviously, being in the paddock throughout 2017, 18 and 19 when Mark was riding on another level. For him to be pushing him so much weekend in, weekend out, and with the Ducati evolving as much as it was as well, just how impressive was that?
Yeah, that was clearly his moment, and also his 3 years. You know, after the year when Mark got injured, of course, they also changed the tire, and then he was also struggling to feel that same feeling with his bike. And but yeah, from our side, only a lot of respect. He works as a professional, and we try to be on his side until Misano and push for good and better results. Even though we know it will be very difficult, because finally, yeah, he was here to try to be on the podium again. And clearly, yeah, this is very difficult, but this category has been changing so hard the last couple of years that even the last guy at the moment, they are really, really, really fast. And you don't have to be ashamed to be where he is and what he's trying to do. He's beating Franco, he's fighting with the younger boys, and even Marco Bezzecchi was on the podium last round in Essen, and he's just a rookie, so it's like up and down, you know, everywhere. But yeah, so he does not have to be embarrassed where we are, because everybody's pushing, and the level is very high.
And of course, coming with that news, 6 rounds remaining once Dovi decides to step away from the team. Cal Crutchlow will be joining the squad for the final 6 rounds of the year. Yeah. Obviously, Yamaha test rider at the moment. I imagine that will be potentially looking towards 2023. Have you had an idea of what exactly Cal's job's going to be in the team for the final 6 rounds of the season?
Well, in 2023, obviously, we will be with Aprilia. So Cal is another story. He's a Yamaha rider, and he's replacing clearly Andrea. And I had a little chat with him on WhatsApp, and yeah, he's ready to do it. He's eager to start again, basically. So as a retired rider, I think he's I don't know which name, but he has been coming back a couple of times, and we work as well a long time in the past together. So I'm happy with that. And let's see, you know, last year he jumped on board, but he, yeah, we had the COVID. He didn't ride for a long time, but he has been testing a lot on the bike. So it's much more rider fit than he was last year. So hopefully he can fulfill his role as a replacement rider very well. And you know, he's always a happy figure to have around with, you know.
Be a lot of fun. I'm sure this hospitality will be just a little bit louder once Cal decides to step in from the Aragon GP in a few months' time. Ahead of that, though, we obviously wish you and Andrea all the best over the coming 3 rounds. A true legend of MotoGP. To see you can go out, particularly on home soil in Misano, with a big result.
I hope so too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wilco. Good to chat with you, and good luck to the squad this weekend, of course, with Darren Binder as well. Head back outside just finally before wishing you farewell. As I said then, coming up today, you will be able to hear from Andrea Dovizioso, hear from the horse's mouth itself on his decision to step away from MotoGP following the San Marino Grand Prix. You'll also be able to join us live on the same channels that you're watching us now from around 20 to 5 for the preview of the British Grand Prix. So much to talk about, not only Andrea's departure, where we'll get the thoughts of Simon Crafar, but also lots of news has been going on. We're going to start the season in Portimao next year. Alex Rins is officially signed for LCR Honda. Plus, of course, the small matter that World Championship leader Fabio Quartararo has a long lap penalty to tackle this weekend at the circuit he was victorious at 12 months ago. Plenty to talk about. And then, of course, the press conference as usual, where you'll get all the thoughts of the leading runners and riders ahead of MotoGP's return. Thank you very much for joining us. And as I said, don't forget to check out MotoGP.com to get the thoughts of Andrea Dovizioso following the news that he will be leaving MotoGP at the end of the San Marino Grand Prix. A true great, 15 victories in the Premier class, the only man to win in 3 separate decades, and of course runner-up on 3 occasions as well. He will be sorely missed. Thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy the weekend.